Laverne, you got some questions?
Yeah, we got a lot of great questions
All right.
from your podcast forum community. And Jolly said she loved your latest book and your take on DEI. She especially loved how we need to shift from cancel culture to counsel culture. However, she said, I also believe that DEI has become a convenient scapegoat lately. As someone who works in DEI space in higher education, I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly from the inside. I think DEI needs to be fixed, not nixed. Do you have any thoughts on that, Dr. Phil? I mean, there aren't enough meaningful conversations about this. And she included a little dog, her little puppy, just in case she wanted to make some friends up on the pod.
Yeah, okay. Good looking dog. Good looking dog. Should have given us a name, but I'll just look at it in anonymity. Yeah, we did talk about DEI. Should DEI die? And I do think people have a lot of strong opinions about DEI. I think as it is currently being practiced and applied, I think DEI should die. I don't think it's working. I don't think that it's a good thing for anybody involved. Look, here's the thing. If DEI is being pushed as it is now, meaning that there is preferential treatment being given to any group, any class, anyone that is being given preferential treatment, it's not going to work. The Supreme Court has ruled on these things, certainly at university level, that you can't take certain characteristics into account when you're determining whether somebody can be considered for admission or not. And the problem is this. If you get into diversity, equity, and inclusion, and you start using race as a criteria, to me, that seems racist. And if you start using a quota system and you start filling slots based on that, and that alone, independent of other qualifications, I think you're doing a disservice in a number of ways. I've got several friends that have really done a great job in their professions and certainly in their educational experiences that tell me I forever will have people looking at me and saying, oh, yeah, you got into this school, you got into this residency program, you got through because someone made allowances for you. And they say that is absolutely not true, and people forever judge me as though allowances were made. If that was the case, it shouldn't be the case. Nobody wants to be dealing with somebody that allowances were made for, standards were lowered for, just to fill some kind of a quota. I don't want to get on an airliner where a pilot wasn't held to the highest standard because they were in some kind of affected class. I don't want to get on an airliner if that pilot wasn't held to the highest standards for selection, training, and performance. I don't want to walk into a hospital needing surgery and get operated on by a doctor who wasn't held to the highest standards, who didn't have the highest grades, who didn't have the highest performance in qualifying for that position. I don't want a firefighter to come fight a fire at my house if they don't have top level skills in fighting fires, but instead were permitted into that job on anything other than performance. And I don't think anybody does. And you say, well, Dr. Phil, you're oversimplifying it. No, I'm not. The fact of the matter is that's exactly how this is being applied. That's exactly how this is being used. People can say, well, no, that's not the case. And when you talk about diversity, it really isn't diversity. A lot of the people that are being admitted, for example, to some of the elite colleges, and they say, well, okay, we have this number of minorities here, so we're diverse. Those are not the kids that are coming from the inner city. They're not the kids that are coming from the disadvantaged population. They just happen to have a skin color or an ethnicity that checks the box, but they come from a privileged background. I think what needs to happen is you don't need to try to fix and level the playing field on the back end. You need to fix it on the front end. If we want to create some kind of equity, you need to go into the neighborhoods where the schools are crummy in the beginning because there's a low tax base. Give these children the opportunity to show up prepared with a good education. They truly are not getting equal opportunity. Go into those schools and make sure they have the proper resources. Incentivize teachers to be willing, top-level teachers to be willing to go into those schools and teach these children who deserve the best education, who deserve the best resources, who deserve the best equipment, just like everybody else. Don't neglect them for 18 years through pre-K, kindergarten, and 1st through 12. Don't neglect them for all of that time and then try to fix it at the end by lowering standards. You're cheating those children. They deserve to have the same quality of education, the same quality of resources, the same quality of teachers as you would get in the suburbs. You would get in an area where the tax base generates enough income to create the kind of school that gives the opportunity for quality learning. Fix this on the front end. Don't neglect those children for 12 years of education plus a few years of pre-K. Don't allow that to happen. Make sure they have proper internet access. Make sure they have proper iPads and computers. Make sure they have quality teachers, and they will blow you away. Give them the opportunity, and they don't need you to lower standards. They don't need you to have a quota system. Give them the same opportunity you're giving other kids, and that will fix the problem. And you can do this in one generation if you'll step up and do the right thing.
Dr. Phil, would you say that DEI, people are saying DEI and racial inclusivity? Because when I hear DEI, I hear that it's going to help people that didn't have the right amount of help or access.
But they're doing it too late in the game. They need to do it in the beginning. They need to do it up front, so you don't need a quota system. You don't need special allocations. You don't need special considerations at the end. You need to do it up front in the beginning. Give them those resources then, not at the end. And then you do have equality of opportunity. And when you give quality of opportunity, those kids are smart. Those kids are smart. They just need a track to run on. That's all. I'm saying pave the road for them from the beginning, and then you fix the problem.